Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Right Time, a Wave original. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening wherever you get your podcast. Thanks for watching us on YouTube. Subscribe, like, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You only give us 4 stars. I'm inclined to believe you are a hater. It is that time of week where we have a guest join us covering the NBA for ESPN. He's not quite as Detroit as me sometimes, but Vinnie Goodwill is in the house. What's going on, brother?
What is more Detroit than Stevie Wonder?
Well, he from Saginaw, right?
Technically, but he made his bones. He made his bones on the west side of Detroit.
I hear you. I'm just saying, at times, because of your refusal to accept America's team, the Detroit Lions, as your own, sometimes I feel like, I'm a little realer than you.
I mean, are they really America's team now?
I'm standing tall and standing proud right now. We're not gonna let a little couple difficult. Nah, man, you stand.
I'm just asking. Asking if they're America's team right now.
How about this? If they're not America's team, that's fine. They still Detroit's team, and some people respect what that means.
I don't know if they're Detroit's team anymore. There's a team in the city that's a little bit better. Keep cooking.
Yeah, thank you. I will continue to cook. Thanks so much. Anyway, I can't say. First of all, have you seen the Diddy movie yet?
I saw episode 1 yesterday. I couldn't get through it all, but baby.
Hey, that's just the beginning, baby. That is just the beginning. I'm gonna tell you now, for people, it is not Fitty being petty, which is what we all expected and why we're watching it. For Diddy, it is something far, far worse, because it is credible and professional, and it is damning. And I will just tell you this, for by the time you get to the end of it, you know how messed up R. Kelly has to be more messed up than this guy? Because this guy is crazy messed up.
Dude, from what I saw yesterday, the fact that you have all this behind the scenes footage from 2024, like
he thought he wasn't going to jail.
Oh, that's the narcissism and the arrogance and everything else. And it's all coming back to bite him. And all those people were talking, like all the people that you done wrong, like the CCNY stuff, like from, what was that, 91? Like stuff that if you know, you know. Because it wasn't like he was known back then. And when he became known, it was more or less a footnote. But by the time... Like the story about the Eric Sermon, like getting in the car and we about to catch a fair one. All of that stuff.
Yeah, can't give away too much, Gabe. I'm just telling you guys.
Yeah.
There may be a longer discussion at the end, but I watched the whole thing on yesterday. Oh, no. It's wild. It's wild. But also wild, dog, they sent your boy Chris Paul home in the middle of the night. And for those who don't know, I wake up this morning to find out that Chris Paul no longer plays for the Clippers. And, when I say they sent him home, it's one thing to just be like, hey, this person has been released, or however you want to spin it. Vinny, correct me if I'm wrong. They sent him home. They told him to leave and we'll figure the rest out later.
They were in Atlanta, if my memory serves me correctly. Don't get me wrong, the Clippers are 5-16. They're having a miserable season. They're old and slow. And I can't imagine that put it like this. I don't know how happy it would be to be around someone like Chris Paul on a daily basis when things are going well. I can only imagine how miserable it would be to be around an old Chris Paul when you are that bad and that old. So clearly, to the point where Lawrence Franken issued a statement that he made and he sent out to, a bunch of reporters like, hey, this is not a Chris Paul fault. We're going to work with him, blah, 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 all the things. This feels like either A, you said the wrong thing at the wrong time and you just got to go, or we are just sick of your shit. We are sick of you being Chris Paul and you're not good enough to be Chris Paul anymore. And we don't have the tolerance to take you being Chris Paul anymore.
All right, so let's think about a couple of factors here. Number one, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't really think there's much dispute here. He's the greatest player in the history of that franchise. He and Blake Griffin together are the most important players in the history of that franchise, as they are the two that legitimized their franchise for the first time. Blake Griffin with his rookie year actually making us care, and then Chris Paul's arrival actually making them like a legitimate team. They helped build this
Yes.
building that they're playing in. The fact that we talk about the Clippers at all, right? That they come up. There's a whole generation of fans like that are actually adults right now who cannot understand what the Clippers meant to me and you growing up, right? The biggest laughing stock in Big Four American sports. This is what they were. He's that guy. He matters to that team. I don't know exactly how the team feels about him because he bailed and it got kind of weird, got weird at the end of the first time. However, you don't really send this guy home given that history. They sent him home. Get out. We can't take it. And it can only tie into what you talk about, man. He is an exhausting guy to be around. Because let me tell you what this isn't going to do. This isn't going to make the Clippers any better. He's out here getting DNP CDs. Like, it's not like he has to play. And by the way, he's playing terribly. But it's not like he has to play and now they got to take him out so they can get somebody else. No. They just want him out of there. They told him to call Tyrone and tell him, come on, help you get your shit.
I am fascinated at what they hope to accomplish by bringing him back in the first place, right? Were we ever sure that he and James Harden patched things up in real time? Because I'm not sure that things were ever, oh, we cool, we back good again. Like, it ended pretty badly in Houston in 2019. And because so much life has happened after 2019, we forget that was not that long ago. And those are two very acquired taste type of ball players. And the fact that Jim Harden has us calling him James Harden again for at least a little while longer. Like, he's playing all-star ball. He's balling. He hooping. Like, he is hooping. It don't matter because the team ain't doing much, but he's hooping. You got Ty Lue, who's having a miserable year. You get all these ways that you have rolled snake eyes as a franchise. And then you got Chris Paul, who's not playing no more. And then he announces somewhere along the way that he is having a going away tour. Like, this is it. Like, yeah, as if we didn't see it. And the day that he announces his retirement, what does Jim Harden do? I'm going to drop 50 in North Carolina. Should have retired right then. Should have just called it right then and there. That's it.
Well, the other thing, this team built itself around a player who ain't got nothing for you on the soft skills, the leader stuff. And that's Kawhi Leonard, right? Like, this whole plan was built around a guy who don't really talk that much, okay? You bring in James Harden, and that's not really what he does, okay? I imagine that if I'm Chris Paul and I get in and I look around this team, and you know what that team sounds like it needs, even as old as they are? It still looks like it needs a grown-up now, doesn't it? And Chris Paul, if he is nothing else, is a grown-up. Not always a likable grown-up, but a grown-up. And he was like, yeah, I'm going to be that. Except the problem for Chris Paul is, and it's so weird, people in real life seem to like Chris Paul a lot. People in basketball do not.
It is one of those things where for Chris Paul to be at his height, like literally, not like the height of his career, but at his height, you have to be a special type of ball player to make it in the NBA. Like, I don't think we give it as much credit because of all the nonsense or not all the nonsense, because of the conversation that has been around Chris Paul, because of the places that he has not gone. But the fact that at 6'0", and as someone who used to have hops, like good enough hops that could make you dunk on Dwight Howard, and then you lose that early in your career, you have to turn yourself into a completely different ball player. You have to be a special type of ball player just to get to the NBA at 6'0". Then you have to be a different type of animal to be an excellent ball player. Like, Bo, just legitimately think about this. The list of 6'0" players who are undeniably better than Chris Paul, I'd probably say are two.
Isaiah Thomas.
Allen Iverson.
Who's not? Is see, that's
If
interesting.
nothing else, AI showed up.
Yeah. So the thing with this is why this is interesting to me. Okay. Iverson obviously was the best player on a team that went to the NBA Finals, which Chris Paul has never been, right?
Right.
Iverson was not, however, the floor raiser that Chris Paul, like 2008 Chris Paul, probably had a better basketball season than 2001 Allen Iverson did. Like, I think 2008 Chris Paul should have been the MVP that year. I understand why he wasn't, but 2008 Chris Paul, and this is before the knee injury, which you talk about, which is a kind of a different incarnation of what Chris Paul was before then. I can say this. I'm not saying that Chris Paul is better than Iverson. I'm saying, though, that there is an interesting discussion to be had about that.
Yeah,
Keeping in
I'm
mind,
with
Chris
you.
Paul's still in the NBA at 40, and at 32, Iverson was cooked.
Yeah, I mean, just like two different types of, ball players. And yeah, it winds up being a different level of, like, I'm not going to fight you if you say that Allen Iverson is
Right.
not better than Chris Paul. Like, that's not the thing. But the fact that Chris Paul, like you said, found a way to reinvent himself as he aged, wound up being part of some really, really good teams, catching some bad luck along the way, some of it self-inflicted, some of it health, whatever you want to call it. Like, you have to be a certain level of probably ornery. You probably have to be a different level of ornery. And you have to ask yourself, wind up, like, historically, was Chris Paul wrong place, wrong time? Or was Chris Paul the common denominator of all the bad things that wound up happening? And there's no real way to answer that right now, because had the Clippers gone to the Western Conference Finals in 2015 against the Golden State Warriors team that was really, really good, but we're not sure that they were championship ready, how different is this discussion?
That was the one, because that 2014-15 switch, that what happened in between those two seasons is interesting, because the last team to beat the Warriors before everything changed were the Chris Paul, Donald Sterling less Clippers, right? Where they
Mm-hmm.
wore the stuff inside out and took took all the stuff off and everything else, and they beat the Warriors in 7. And Joe Lacob got Mark Jackson the fuck up out of there because it was beef, right? And then next thing you know, the Warriors are everything. And for people who don't remember, the Clippers were up 3-1 on the Rockets in the second round of the playoffs, and they are up big in game 6 and led by Josh Smith with James Harden on the bench
Mm-hmm.
in LA. The Rockets walked them down. Now, to be fair, that was a team where the Clippers starting five was the best 5-man lineup in the NBA.
Yep.
And they had nobody behind them. And
Yep.
they just ran out of gas. So that's the thing to me, is that if they win that series, they probably go play the Warriors and get run out of the building, because it wasn't like they were any more accomplished than the Warriors were.
Right. Well, here's the other thing. This is the thing that we forget. Do you remember what happened to the Clippers the year before that, after they beat the Warriors in round 1? Who they played in round 2 and how that ended up? Do you remember that?
In
They
2014, did they play the Spurs in the second round?
No, they played the Thunder. And that was
That's
the Chris
right.
Paul meltdown game in game 5, where he fouls Russ taking that wild 3. And then when Russ makes all 3 free throws, and then on the last play, he gets stripped, maybe by Reggie Jackson, driving, like he drove to, like, it's all these little inflection plays that sometimes you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, and sometimes it can't always be you. And that's where it has gotten. Because think about how many players have played as long as Chris Paul and have been as great as Chris Paul, but have never gotten over the hump. Usually you wind up by hook or crook getting something. Like, it's the Karl Malones, it's the John Stocktons, but the list ain't that long. Like, as much as the championships have gotten monopolized, usually you wind up like Clyde Drexler found the way. He was an unlucky player, and then he was no longer unlucky. David Robinson was gifted Tim Duncan. Like the one gripe I have sometimes about John Stockton is, you can't just be 16 and 12 all the time. It can't just be, I'm taking the playbook and executing it properly, and I'm not adjusting to whatever the game is calling for. Chris Paul can probably execute the game plan before life alters it as well as anybody in the history of the game. right? What happens, but playoff basketball is inevitably what happens when the game calls for you to be something different than what you plan for. And that's
Yeah.
where Josh Smith happens. And that's where, wait, why did I foul Russell Westbrook taking a three when we are up 4? He's taking a three. This is what we want. Like, it sounds like we dogging on Chris Paul here. It just shows how thin the margins are when you are that great and you're trying to get rings in the Spurs/Warriors era of the Western Conference.
To this day, and this cannot be ignored no matter how analytical the game gets and everything else, ain't no more skill more important than going and getting buckets. A bucket, but I can go get buckets. Boys, I got 35 for us tonight. And Chris Paul, in his way, could do that. What was that game in that playoff year they went to the finals in Phoenix? I don't think it was against the Bucks, but you remember the game I'm talking about where he just kept walking them, or was it the next year? He just kept walking them down to the elbow.
No. It was a clip when he beat the Clippers and he forced Pat Bev into the ultimate villain move. That was the clinching. That was the clinching. I think he scored 40.
Yes, and he just went and got bucket after bucket after bucket. And that's almost the exception that proves the rule in this case that we're talking about. Like, the thing about Isaiah Thomas that made him so amazing, especially for the day and age that he played in, is, all right, I'm going to go get these buckets. If y'all just ride along with me, I'm the one guy in the building for this team that can go get these buckets. I got you. Don't worry about it. Because sometimes only thing that's going to work is I can go get these buckets. Giannis, when he had that game 6 to win that series against Phoenix, is just, hey, man, I'm going to go get these buckets. That's what makes Allen Iverson at 6 foot so amazing. Again, Isaiah Thomas. It's really difficult for a guy that size to say, you know what? I'm going to go out here and do this. A guy like the other Isaiah Thomas, who could do that in the regular season, but not really when it comes down to it in the playoffs. Like, at that point, he ain't really going to be able to give it to you. Chris Paul lacked that single most important skill, right? Like, that's why you talk about Chris Paul versus Steph Curry. That's the giant difference right there, man. Steph Curry's like, hey, 35? Yeah, I can do that. Okay.
Easy. And you make alterations through the game as the game goes. Like maybe Zeke says, Michael Jordan's guarding me. I have to go score 35 tonight. He's actually done that. And these are against, you accept the challenge of, you know what, this is going to be a little uncomfortable for me. I might have to take a lot of shots that go against the percentages and everything else, but who else going to do it but me? And you got to be able to take that. And Giannis, when he made all them free throws, who else going to do it but me? Inevitably, I think you have to do things that make you feel a little uncomfortable, that make you step outside yourself. Michael Jordan in the 91 NBA Finals averaged 11.5 assists. You think he was thinking about, I'm going to pass to John Paxson a whole bunch this series? No, that's just what the game called for. And the guys whose regular season and playoff numbers mirror the exact same things, almost to the degree of, like low turnover guys. Like to some, like in NFL, the guys who don't throw interceptions. That means you're not taking the chances of throwing it into those holes and making guys run to get to those spots. Same way for point guards. Sometimes you got to throw those passes just so everybody can look alive. You know what I mean? Like you get that guy to say, "Hey man, look alive, keep your head up." Like Magic Johnson throwing the ball to the back of your head. "Hey man, I wasn't open." Yes, you was. you open because I synced it. Like one of those type of things. And that might be the one separator between the tier that I consider to be the ultimate tier, the Magic Johnson Zeke tier, to everybody that comes below them. And I mean everybody that comes below them.
Oh, wow. But yeah, homie went out sad, man. He had to put it on Instagram stories. Like that's the thing about coming back. I talked about this in the context of LeBron, which is a different case. But once you decide to come back at this age, every year, the odds of you going out sad get higher and higher and higher. And like LeBron hanging out at the end of that game to try to make sure he got his double digits.
Ooh.
That wasn't going out happy.
I mean, can you imagine? And put it like, and let me correct myself before the aggregators go. Like Steph is in that GOAT category too. He's just a different type of point guard. But
yes,
think about this. Can you imagine JJ Redick knowing what the score is, knowing that only LeBron is the only regular out there, and LeBron is out there. Hey man, I got to get this sidestep three to get these buckets. Because the few plays before that, Bo, he was trying to just score, and it wasn't working. And that's where you are about to be 41 years old in a few weeks, and you're coming off of an old man injury, and you're walking into the new world order. And that is okay, maybe you've earned the right to say, I want to score my double digits. Like, this means that much to me. All right, cool. But it still feels a little unseemly.
So I will say this. I do not believe that he would have done that in a game that mattered.
Okay.
Right? Or under circumstances under which the game mattered.
Okay.
So if he's got 6 points and it's 90 seconds left and it's a 4-point game, I don't think he's doing that, right? Like, I think that there was a measure of, hey, what we got to lose right now? He's only played 5 games, but it's clear he is dialing back usage. Like, I think he seems to have made, on one hand, I think I would say that he has made an adjustment to what the New World Order is. I would also say that he was over there lollygagging with the other team during the game, and JJ had to call a timeout on Monday night. Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw that. Once
and
again,
so I want to see, I bring that up to say I want to see just how all that plays, because JJ is a crazy person coaching that team. Like, we all understand this. Like, is that something that you do it on purpose? Like, you got to know, if you LeBron, we can't be doing this.
Okay, but to borrow a phrase from one of those reality shows, who gonna check me, boo? Like, who's going to check LeBron James at this stage of his life, at this stage of his career? But that's the
point. He's as checkable as he's ever been right now. He had a number 3 option on the offense. He's not the best player on the team. Like, if he is asking who gonna check me, it is possible he could find out.
I will say this. No longer number 1 option, yes. Let's see how long he's the number 3 option. Let's see him revving it up and getting comfortable playing like himself again. Like, it's one thing to do when you come in and the Lakers are a top 3 team in the Western Conference, them, Oklahoma City, and Houston. Like, it's clear that those are the 3 best teams as of this moment right now. You have to come in and sort of fit in. But the first sign of turbulence, it's going to be really hard for you to fight against your natural instinct, which is to put your hands on the throttle and go and pull the nose up. And you're still LeBron James. Like, no matter what winds up happening, like whatever jokes, and how we kicking it here, he's still an incredibly effective ball player who can have an incredible effect on the game just by his mere presence. Like, having to blend in right now is one thing. Like, do you know what people are doing on the internet? Because I know you're not on Twitter as much anymore. And I don't know if people are doing this on Threads. People are doing one of these blind reveals. We doing side by side this player's first 5 years against this player's first 5 years. And we want y'all to find out. We want you to tell us whose numbers is these. Rookie year, 7.6. Second year, 15 points. Third year, 19.9. Fifth year, 22.5. Next year, 28.5. You know who they comparing? Bomani?
LeBron.
No. I said rookie year, 7 points a game.
Oh.
Austin Reeves and Kobe Bean Bryant.
Oh. Now that's the difference is I think Austin Reeves was about 27 as a rookie. He played 7 years of college.
Hey, it's just the inflation of today's game on a number of levels.
I know, but still,
it's just a crazy town. It is a crazy town, man.
Yes, that's. I will just say this, and my inclination is not to say that you're wrong about how effective LeBron is as a ball player right now or everything else. He is currently putting up splits of 46, 32, 55. And that 55% from the free throw line is on 20 attempts. Like, it's not a super tiny sample that we're working with here. If it gets to a place of him trying to dial it up, because that's what he usually does, there's questions. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be interesting to watch. Like my inclination is to believe that he could find a way. I've always thought that the game for him was going to be aging into being a bit of a point power forward.
Yeah,
Right. Like
yeah.
that's what I'd always thought. I thought it would start happening maybe 10 years ago. Not 10, but you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he's flipped the math on aging so crazy. Like think about this. This is 10 seasons since the 3-1 comeback against the Warriors. Like that's how long this dude's been playing. That is wow, it is amazing. But it's going to be interesting to see, especially if he keeps doing stuff like what had JJ so mad. That's what, like, they ain't gonna send him home, right? But
Right.
they were okay without him.
Yeah, I mean, okay. See, that's the right word. You said the right word. They were okay without him. Like the net rating is a little bit better than what the record is, or the record is better than the net rating. I will give. How about this? And this is a phrase that I find myself using all the time a little bit now. I'll just be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I'll consider myself to be wrong if LeBron is totally washed, because I've never seen it. And I've never, like, at least from a statistical standpoint, I will allow for LeBron coming off of that type of leg injury, being this age and this level of experience. I tend to believe he will turn it up in some way. It may not get to the point where he's 25-7-7 or 27-7-7. It may not get that high, but it will not look the way that it looks now, 5 games in. I'm willing to give it another 15 games to see where it actually lands and to see how JJ and Luka and Austin Reeves and all these guys works itself in. I just don't tend to believe the Lakers are as good as their record, even sans LeBron and with LeBron in this small sample size.
Yeah, I mean, their point differential indicates a okay team.
Here's the thing. If they are going to win multiple playoff series, as in more than one, as in we're getting to the Western Conference Finals to be the runner-up to the Oklahoma City Thunder, then
which everybody is,
then you're going to have to win on offense. With their roster is currently constructed, because we've seen Luka steal you a series. Luka has stolen playoff series before. He's capable of doing that. You're going to have to win strictly on offense. With Luka, I think he's at a 38 usage. That doesn't look like it is sustainable for real life winning in today's basketball, with basketball being played at the pace that it is played at, where it is breakneck speed, where if you play hard like the Boston Celtics or the Phoenix Suns or the Orlando Magic, you're going to win more games than talent says you should. And I don't know how much playoff basketball will slow that up. And therefore, I am not sure how much real winning the Lakers can do against teams that are more talented and more versatile when it matters.
Yeah, I will say this, and I want to put a pin in something you just said and then go over to the break. But in the West, the Lakers have the second best record. Point differential, tied for 6th, right around the surprising Phoenix Suns.
The team,
you know what I mean? Now, granted,
the team that gave them the beats the other night.
Right. Now, granted, Phoenix did put the hurt on them. But given, though, that is the Lakers playing a lot without LeBron, some in and out of Luka. Like, there are things to be brought up to mitigate the point, but it is fair to question whether or not this is a play-in team with a 13-5 record right now. But coming up next, I want to talk to you about the Thunder, but you just hit on something I wanted to talk about, which is the pace of play in the NBA and some of the consequences that we're seeing from that. All right, we are back with Vinnie Goodwill of ESPN, and you made the point there talking about the way that basketball is played in the NBA right now. Because look, LeBron is old, Luka is not the most durable player, and you mentioned Luka having a 38% usage rate, which is really, really, really high, and seems unsustainable. Like James Harden, it is amazing that James Harden has had the career that he has had when you really stop and think about the usage numbers that he's put up and the numbers of games that he's put up. Like, I mean, look, he's had stretches, obviously, where he hasn't been the healthiest, but the fact that he can still be this good with all the miles that he has is actually really impressive, because I think that we'd all agree at this point. I was reading something, I think Mark Medina had this, where he talked to a lot of guys like Gary Vitti, the former trainer of the Lakers and, other people in the body space in the
Mm-hmm.
NBA. And it's just the style of play and the pace of play in the NBA is putting so many more miles on guys, on top of the fact that they're racking up so many more miles before they even get to the NBA. And it's leading to the consequences that we see all over the league, which is the best players not really playing that much, right? Like, I wonder if long term it means that we're actually going to see something where careers perhaps get a little shorter because the teams become a little more apprehensive about paying older guys a lot of money, and so it all kind of dials back or whatever it is. But it got me to thinking about something, and I'm curious what you think about this. So we often see the argument of, well, the NBA season needs to be shorter. Okay, never going to happen, right? They're not giving back money.
No.
Every game makes people money. They're not giving back money. Hard stop. But I was thinking about some of this doom and gloom stuff I've been reading about the internet and about AI, for example, where we know all the terrible consequences of AI. We don't even know if AI is actually going to prove itself to be profitable, all of these things. But AI has been introduced into the system, into the universe, right? Everybody's out here using it. And one thing that history has indicated to us is once technology becomes available, people don't stop using it. Right? Like, you're not going to, now that AI is here, no explanation of how much electricity it uses, how bad it is for the earth, how bad it is for the people, all of this stuff. Too bad, so sad, it's here. People are going to be talking to Siri and Alexa or whatever it is. Once this has become available, the society is not going to walk back from it. And I feel like all these advances that we're talking about in basketball and the way things run schematically are very, very similar. It is breaking the bodies of the players. The bodies are not meant to withstand that which we are discussing. But there is no dialing it back. As long as there's one person that's going to use the schemes, then everybody else is going to have to do what's necessary to keep up with it. And this is just what it's going to be.
You know what's funny? I've been talking to multiple people in the medical community, like on teams, who have to deal with the bodies. And not everybody has the same answer. Like, it's different degrees of depth of what they believe the problem or solution is. But the commonality is this, and I want to see what you think about this. A, they agree with you and me completely on too much specialization at an early age. One said, man, it's like watching a timing belt on your car being worn out just because it's what it is. It's only got so many miles on the car before the car starts fighting back against you. That's where the bodies are. And maybe this is something for all of the professional sports leagues to get together on, as opposed to, man, you're a basketball player at age 10. That's exactly what you're going to be. That's only what you're going to be. Like, that cannot be healthy for the body. And I'm sure it probably hurts, maybe not football, but I would assume baseball, just because, like, pitching, arm motions, like stuff like that. The other thing is this, Ball, and I'm gonna see the other two things that I thought were really fascinating is this, and I'm reading from like a pretty extensive text message. Practicing no longer happens. Individual skill work happens far more. So you're stressing the muscle without doing anything to simulate gameplay. Like, you're just doing an exercise over and over again. And because guys aren't used to practicing anymore, teams don't really practice as much. Like, they talk about, staying off your body and everything else because of the miles that you're doing throughout the course of the game, because of the miles that you've already put on your body, because of the miles that you might put on your body during the summer when you're hooping at Lifetime Fitness and everything else, all the skill work. You're not practicing together and you're not playing live. So you're only playing live during the course of the game. Your body isn't used to that type of stress. And then it's the stress of breakneck speed basketball. Big time problems. And finally, and there's a couple others, but I don't want to say it out loud. But the other one, two people have told me that basketball shoes and the equipment is shit today. They say the shoes are just bad. They think that because you are wearing a low cut shoe and you are wrapping your ankle around it, that's compensating. All you're doing is sending the stress to other parts of your body. Now, what's right above the ankle? And what injuries do we see all the time nowadays?
Yeah.
The calf. And the hamstring. And did you hear about our boy Zion? Grade 2 adductor strain. That's 3 to 6 weeks. Come on, man.
Yeah. Gary Vee, I think the point he made in the Medina piece that I thought was so interesting was just that he's like, look, man, if you do the same thing over and over again, everything that's small in your mechanics just becomes exacerbated because you're doing that thing over and over and
Mm-hmm.
over again. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
just throwing this out there. One of your legs is a little shorter than the other one, then you're going to be everything that comes from the compensation of that, you're going to be doing over and over and over again. And that's going to lead to these problems. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like the overuse goes from there. Had another person who works in college sports, and he made the point that with basketball, where he's like, the problem is we can't get these guys to stop doing these drills.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We can't get these guys doing all of this. But I think you hit on a very important point, which is these cats are going to start a big campaign from all the leagues to be like, hey, play everything, right? MLB put some money in. The hockey people, I guess they kind of could too, right? Everybody put some money in and encourage everybody to play everything. The cross train, need a new Bono's campaign.
That would be great. Like we are just old enough to have played, even if you didn't play like high level stuff, but you played everything. Even if it's just playing in the street, like playing with guys, you know what I mean? Like playing stickball, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like you still did other things besides the one sport all year round, especially if you are in a place where you got easy access to a gym or there's great weather, so you're going to be outside every day or whatever it is. Like people would say, man, y'all was playing on concrete and that messed your knees up. Maybe, but there was also times that we just didn't, or we played other things. Now because guys have access to gyms and you get access to trainers and you got the AAU circuit and everything else, like that's going to be where the NBA has to go to AAU and either completely take it over and remake it so that the product that you get when you get to the NBA is a little bit more sustainable, or like you said, and partner with the NFL, partner with Major League Baseball for something to where not everybody's just playing one singular sport. I think it creates better athletes, to be perfectly honest with you.
It creates better athletes, but I think the thing that sucks about it is everybody's afraid that they slipping behind, right? Because somebody else is working just a little bit more and somebody else's game is getting to this place. And I hear you, but you're not going to get to a place where I believe that there is anything more important in terms of where you're going to end up than natural physical endowments, right? Like I still think to this day that if somebody, take Joel Embiid, for example, if somebody had found Joel Embiid in Cameroon when Joel Embiid was 16 years old, just found him, and he was as rough and raw and everything else with his game, drop him in the draft at 18, he go number one, right?
Yep.
Like somebody sees the body and sees what is possible. They still gonna take that cat in that like, or even if they're not in the end game, I guess what I am not sure how much of this ground and pound that is happening to these kids when they're in middle and high school. I'm not sure they're actually getting returns out of it.
Well, it's almost like what you say about the NFL with the running backs.
Yeah.
When a runner, like you pay for the yards, someone else pays for the carries. Like the high schools and AAU, I won't say they're getting the best versions because the players aren't as physically mature and they're not getting the best coaching and everything else. But they're getting something out of it that the NBA has to wind up paying for. That's why not just even the practicality of, let's say you're playing 10 fewer games. You think none of the injuries are going to happen. And I'm like, generally, I rock with Steve Kerr on a bunch of things, on a bunch of different levels. It's just that on this one, and there's this brigade of people who are just saying, shorten the season. Are you people high? It's not just, is it not practical to give up 10 games and everything else? What you think these dudes gonna do during the days that they don't have games is not gonna stop them from doing the skill work. It's not going to stop them from training and everything else. They're already not practicing. It doesn't mean they're going to stay off of their feet. And then what happens when the injuries go then? Oh, let's cut the season to 62 games. Where is the line of demarcation? The NFL is going to go to an 18-game regular season pretty soon. And you're saying let's cut it down to 72. Y'all crazy.
No, it's tough for the league, man. Like it's a problem that's bigger than everybody else. And the problem obviously is caused by the fact it's a lot of money in that summer basketball. It's a lot of money in this game of training in all of these things, and I'm just not. I saw Andre Miller on one of those podcasts, and he was like, "I ain't paying no money for no trainers, man." He was like, "You know what you got to do? Play 5-on-5 basketball. You're never going to convince me that there's anything better for somebody's game than playing 5-on-5 basketball."
I don't get why playing basketball is such like this stinky sort of thing that guys have nowadays. It's the only way you get better is being able to read and react to the way, and especially because today's game is almost so homogenized, where it's gonna be high pick and roll, it's gonna be draw two, swing, whatever it is. Like, you have to be able to react to different situations. That's why it seems like some basketball players are so robotic, because it's like, man, we just gonna go from catching the ball from the corner to the next action. It's literally like they're not even thinking for themselves. And the only way you break out of that is if you are just start playing natural basketball. And you don't become better at basketball unless there's a series of things that happen that you can't expect, and you understand, oh, I can think for myself here and I can figure this out. So much of hooping is just figuring it out. Like, whatever happened, Bo, I wasn't the best dude at my age, but dudes always told me, hey man, you gonna play with us. We the older dudes. You the smallest dude out here, and you're the youngest dude out here. The only way you're gonna get better is by hooping against us and getting your ass kicked, going down the lane and getting knocked on your ass, and being able to take that and getting up and hooping. Whatever happened to that?
Yeah, it's a time, man. But I just want to see how this all goes.
Are we the two old men at the theater? The two Muppets? Like,
no, we might be, but I mean, but I don't even think we'd at, because what we're talking about though is like, hey man, Victor Wembanyama, calf. Right? Like this is, we're looking at these red flags come up with the next generation of some of the most incredible basketball players that we've ever seen. The one guy that I think will play forever though, my man Jokic. He like, look, man, y'all out here doing all this jumping. Not your boy. And he is, by the way, currently putting up, I don't even want to talk about it because it's so obscene. Like, they should take us off the air for talking about what Jokic is. The man's leading the league in rebounding and assists while putting up 29 points a game at splits of 62 and 44 and 85. Like, this is nuts. But I want to get this in right fast before we go. Yeah, I know. It feels like a tease just to throw that out there. But I want to ask you about this before we go. Are the Thunder about to win 75 games?
If they want to. You know, like you know what it is? It doesn't look impressive. And when I say that, like, the 2016 Warriors looked spectacular because they just played the 3-point game, and it was Steph at like the absolute sort of peak of his powers, and they literally ran away from you like during second quarters. Oklahoma City, like last night, it was a close game against the Stephen Curry and Jimmy Butler list Golden State Warriors, and Golden State led by 3 like in the fourth quarter, and then like I wound up falling asleep because I'm old, and I wake up like 2 hours later and it was, you know, a double-digit lead. Bo, they don't overwhelm you the way that the 96 Bulls did with the Dobermans, and the way that the 16 Warriors did with just like the sheer volume. They do just enough. It's like they beat you by 4 every quarter. Beat you by 4, beat you by 4, beat you by 4, beat you by 4. And then you wind up, wait, we lost by 20?
Yeah, because they're winning by 15 points a night.
Isn't that crazy?
Like they're winning by 15 points a night, and they did most of this without their second or third best player.
Where do you sit on J-Dub?
I mean, to be your second or third best player, and the fact that you have another player that is as good or close to being as good with Chet. Because, I mean, look, Chet's putting up second best player type numbers, you know? Whew. Like, I did not love J-Dub during the playoffs, and then we found out that he was actually very hurt, right? Like, oh, my bad. Dude, and they gonna they like the Lakers of 82. They can win a championship and they go draft James Worthy. Because look, they could wind up with a super high pick in this draft, and this is a draft that people are saying has a bunch of guys that could be that guy. Now, granted, the last time somebody told me that was 2014, and that didn't really work out that way, right? Wiggins, Jabari Parker, and Embiid. It didn't exactly work out that way. But the Thunder be cheating, man. They cheat on offense and they cheat on defense, right? I don't understand how it is that they out here on defense not getting called for none of that stuff that look like fouls, and on offense, stuff that ain't fouls get called fouls when they got the ball. I don't understand how they managed to do both.
It is amazing the way that the magic of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's game is legit. I'm going to fear you into fouling me. I'm going to fear you into leaving me open. Either way, I'm going to get a good look or a great look, or I'm going to get fouled. Like, it's just, he has legit mastered the game in terms of space. Like, in terms of, this is a box that I'm going to operate in. And within these 18 inches of wherever I'm at when I'm dribbling the ball and where your hand is or where your shoulder is or where my shoulder is, I'm going to master that. It is not necessarily like aesthetically pleasing, but man, is it effective. And here's the other thing, Bo. The crazy thing was you said 82 and worthy in the Lakers. You know what year I thought of? 86 in the Celtics.
Boston. Yeah. Knock on some wood, partner. We can't put that
yeah,
on
we can't have
whoever.
Yeah, we can't. If the Thunder were a big city team who had won the championship, off to a 21-1 start, and could have up to 3 lottery picks the next year, if they were the Lakers, do you know how many Comic Sans letters would be written to Adam Silver saying, hey, dog, this ain't it. But because it's the Thunder, we got to say, oh, man, this is great. We're going to be in Oklahoma City in June for the next 5 years, baby.
Yo, I don't even know what Presti's supposed to do, right? Like, they are set up in such a way that what it should be now is, all right, we got all these young guys, we got all these assets. Now we can package that and finally get us the guy that'll put us over the top. Now we can go get a superstar. Nah, you got one. You got the second best player in the NBA. And then you got Jalen Williams. And by the way, the only guy that's a super high draft pick is Chet. I keep like that. The whole thing about the tank argument, you can tank all you want, but the real key is knowing what you're doing. Because this team is not built with high picks. That Warriors run. I mean, they went and got Kevin Durant, yes, but before that, the only super high pick was Andrew Bogut. Like, that's not how they put this thing together.
You got to know your draft picks. Like in today's, and I make this point so much, in today's second apron world where rookie scale big boy maxes, there's such a schism between the two. If you can get the draft right and you can pay your players under the rookie paradigm of the maxes before they graduate to the big boy maxes after year 7 or 8, that's the only way that you can have something truly sustainable in the draft era where you get your draft picks right. You develop them, or they turn to max players, but they're little max players. And you hope that the money in the league doesn't burst, that the money keeps growing to where you can continue to pay your guys, that it doesn't catch you. But it's only like 2 or 3 teams. Like if you think about this, name me the 3 best teams in basketball right now. If you name me the 3 best teams in basketball, I'll tell you what they got in common. I'm just curious if you rock with me on this one.
All right. I would be inclined to say at this moment.
Just at this moment. Just rock with me at the moment.
Detroit, Oklahoma City. You know, I have a soft spot in my heart for the Denver Nuggets, but yes. Probably Houston coming in there, huh?
Right. And Denver could be the second best team in the West. And I know I said the Lakers, but like recalibrate that.
Yeah.
But Detroit, the Thunder, the Rockets, they have in common is they got their draft picks right and they're winning with the draft picks. With Detroit, it's Cunningham, it's Duran, it's Stewart, it's Thompson, it's Holland. It's all those guys in Houston, and then you traded a couple of them for Kevin Durant. But you still got Thompson and Şengün, and now you're adding...
hold on. And the couple that you traded were the ones that you didn't get as right.
Right. Which you didn't have to, but other teams are being put in positions where they have to take a flyer because they didn't have the draft capital. And now the Thunder, this is what happens. If you get the draft right, you have the trust of whatever you've built, and you can take advantage of the teams that didn't. Like if you're the Clippers and you don't have a first, you may have to trade you may have to trade James Harden or see if James Harden wants to go just to see if you can get into the draft, because if you can't get into the draft and your cap is tied up, you legit have no hope.
Yeah, and they gave Sam Presti. They had to. I didn't think it was a bad decision when they made it, but it is now looking like
the worst trade in NBA history.
Yeah, it's the Herschel Walker trade.
Yep.
Like that's the exact comp for the Paul George trade, which again made sense. They had some bad breaks, some things that didn't go right. If Kawhi Leonard does not get hurt in 2021, I think they have a strong argument that they could have pushed through, because Paul George was really good in that postseason, as I recall.
Yes, he was.
But it didn't work. And for the Thunder, they had 2 down years. That was really it. 2 down years. And now they look like they're going to be annoying and unbeatable maybe forever.
Well, here, I won't push back against that. But I will say this. Last year, I thought Boston was walking to June. And a funny thing happened on the way to June was in the second round against the Knicks, a team they had dominated throughout the season, they got popped. I thought the Denver Nuggets, after winning that title in 23, I thought they were walking to June. And a funny thing happened on the way to June. Minnesota with Rudy and Towns and Ant popped them. I'm not saying the same thing is going to happen. I am saying that in today's NBA, it is far more... This thing don't last as long as you think it does. Kevin Durant Golden State Warriors thing lasted for 3 years.
Right, okay,
and we
but
thought they've broken the game.
Right, but here's what I would say about that. Denver was not out there with the same team, and they sacrificed a lot of their depth going from that 1 year to the next.
Agreed.
Boston, we have to remember, them boys have miles on them, right? Like that, the core of that team had been together for 7 years at that point, give or take. Like we're coming in that zone. Brother, this is just the beginning with these guys. They had the 1 year where they lost to Dallas in the second round, and then they came back and won the championship. Their best player is 27 years old.
Yeah.
That's because I agree with you. Anything can happen, except those other teams were not in positions to reload. And like Boston, for example, depending on Kristaps Porzingis, which is always going to be right? Like we'll see what happens.
Could that be Oklahoma City depending on the health of Chet Holmgren?
I mean, it could be, but
I'm not saying that you're wrong, and I'm not saying that
right. But this is what I'm saying.
You know what I mean?
If it does turn out that Chet's health is a problem, they can just go get something else.
The game just rewinds.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's the difference here is if one of these things doesn't work out, hey, man, go in the ashtray, get some change, run to the store right fast, and go get me another big man. Yeah, we got it. It's just in there. It's in there. Don't you worry. Like, you go to the Thunder ashtray with the change in it, and it's got $100 bill in it.
Hey, it's like the Coach Prime line. I'm bringing my luggage with me, and my luggage is Louis.
Yeah. They're like, yo, why is your Crown Royal bag so light? I thought you had change. Oh, man, this is just paper money. It don't even jingle. That's what we got, baby.
It fold, baby. It just fold.
That's what we got. Man, it's going to be a year. Vinnie Goodwill, check him out. ESPN, covering the NBA. Next time we get you there, we got to talk about the Knicks. We didn't have a chance. You get to watch this up close now. Like, you are knee-deep in New York basketball.
I get the Karl Towns experience. The bongos and the threes.
Hey, man, the bondos and threes. And by the way, he is bottom 10 field goal percentage at the rim. And you know who else is? And this is going to be an interesting discussion as this year goes on. Cade Cunningham.
Yeah, I see that.
Under 60% field goal percentage at the rim, which I think is a bit of a flag. And who's lower than both of them, if I'm not mistaken. And this is just sad. Zion Williamson.
Yeah, that's pretty... Look, I'm surprised Zion even qualifies.
Man, just didn't have to be that way. Shouldn't have gone to Duke. And look, once the tire blew on them shoes, ain't never been the same since. That happened. Shouldn't have gone to Duke. Shouldn't have gone to Duke. That's all I'm saying. Can't Boozer, it's not too late. You can leave and go somewhere else. Let's think about it for a second.
Hop in the portal right now, go to Carolina.
Hey, they'll take you. Just say it. I'm sure they'll take you. My brother, I appreciate you.
All love, brother.
All right, now, ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for joining us here on The Right Time. We do this 4 times a week. Ryan Brumley handling everything behind the scenes. Thank you, sir. Hit the voicemail line, 323-596-7767. Remember, follow The Right Time. Subscribe, like, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars. You only give us 4 stars, I'm inclined to believe you are a hater. We'll talk to you guys in a couple of days. Take it easy.